I'm waiting for the winner of Ilya and Charles. They fight next week, June 28th. I'll be there. That's who I want to fight.
Yeah, Jean is a very principled guy, and I never feel strong about this, and he really told me this yesterday. I was him at the fight. He said, I'm not going to get a title shot.
Justin Gaethje draws a hard line with the UFC, demanding a title shot against the Topuria versus Oliveira winner, or he'll walk away from the sport for good. According to UFC veteran and analyst Din Thomas, Gaethje's exclusion from the title picture might have been directly influenced by his devastating knockout loss to Max Holloway at UFC 300. That unforgettable moment where Holloway dropped Gaethje with just seconds left in their fight may have left more than a bruise on Gaethje's record.
When the fight got announced, I didn't feel this way right away. I was like, yeah, okay, I see it. But Justin Gaethje said something on it, and I agree with him. I feel he got passed up. I think that, they're both 1-1 coming off a win in their last two. I feel that Justin's been in the much more exciting fight.
Thomas speculated that the UFC may still have that brutal KO fresh in their minds, and it could have damaged Gaethje's stock in terms of immediate title contention. Despite Gaethje being one of the division's most entertaining fighters, the organization may have leaned toward Oliveira due to familiarity and momentum.
The weight of schedule within those two, I think, was more presentable for a title fight if you were going to choose them like this. And overall, I think that he is a much more fun fight to watch against Ilya, I think.
Yeah. So you thought it should be Justin and Ilya, not Charles and Ilya?
Yes.
Thomas expressed that Gaethje versus Topuria would have been a more thrilling matchup stylistically, especially considering both fighters' aggressive boxing styles. However, he acknowledged that it was almost assumed Oliveira would land in this title slot, possibly because of his reputation, previous title reign, and experience. It's even possible, Thomas mused, that Oliveira simply made his case behind the scenes and convinced the UFC that he belonged in this fight, a move that no one openly questioned because of how natural it seemed.
And I think that, like we said, he's no spring chicken either. What is he gonna have to do to get a title fight? Who does he have to beat now to get in that range? Because the lightweight division's up now, So what is he gonna fight in Arman or Gamrot? And then he's got to fight for the title. I think that he got passed up. I think he did enough if you were to choose to put it in there. And I know forever we felt that it was Charles Oliveira's division to lose, and I don't think that's the case anymore. I really don't. I don't think it has been for a while. Ever since everyone, quote unquote, he lost the belt on the scale. I think that the lightweight division could use more other people. I was about to say new blood, but that's not the case either with Gaethje. But I think that Gaethje got passed up. What do you think?
As for Gaethje, who now finds himself on the outside of the title race, Thomas questioned what's next. Should he fight someone like Arman Tsarukyan? Would that be fair or exciting enough for a fan favorite who has given everything inside the cage? Thomas emphasized that he would have much rather seen Gaethje fight Topuria for the vacant belt, adding that the decision to go with Oliveira might have stemmed from public and internal assumptions. Essentially, people believing Oliveira deserved the shot without really challenging the idea.
I mean, damn,
Yeah, it's tough to say where Gaethje even goes from here. Like, do you put him against Arman? I would much rather have seen him fight Ilya, honestly. Now he's man, I would have much rather seen that.
Yeah, and maybe I think they will do that fight though, the Arman and Gaethje, and that's going to be a great fight, but it's not going to be an exceptionally, I think with everything going on with the lightweight division, I think that it could have been handled differently.
Yeah, you're right about that. I didn't consider that, and now you bring it up, and I go, yeah, maybe he did get kind of passed up, and it was just based on our own perceptions and bias towards Charles, just almost accepting that he deserved to be in that spot, and I didn't even question it.
Gaethje's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, made things even more intense by revealing that his fighter might retire if he isn't given a title opportunity soon. Abdelaziz highlighted how much Gaethje has contributed to the UFC, stating that Gaethje has done more than enough to earn a title shot. If the organization couldn't offer that, Abdelaziz claimed Gaethje would rather hang up his gloves. The frustration was evident, especially considering that other fighters, like Dustin Poirier, were granted a third title shot despite similar losses on their resume.
You do Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett. What do you think? Ideally for you, who do you think could be next to Justin Gaethje?
Justin Gaethje fight the winner. He won 3 of his last 4. He saved the UFC 2 times. They needed him, and he's there. The guy did so much for the sport. And if anyone said he doesn't deserve it, and he said, I'm not going to fight for the title, I'm just going to hang up my gloves.
Really? So if he doesn't get a title shot, that could be it? We might not see Justin Gaethje again?
Abdelaziz shared that Gaethje was deeply disappointed and didn't feel appreciated by the UFC, despite his loyalty and the excitement he consistently brought to the octagon. According to him, Gaethje told him directly that if there's no title on the line in his next bout, he's not interested in continuing. While Abdelaziz believed the UFC still valued Gaethje and would eventually give him what he wants, he admitted they'd have to see how the Topuria versus Oliveira's fight plays out before making any assumptions.
Yeah, Jean is a very principled guy, and I never feel strong about this, and he really told me this yesterday. I was him at the fight. He said, I'm not gonna get a title shot. I feel disrespected. I love being a UFC fighter. I love the UFC, but I feel the UFC have to love me back, and he doesn't feel the love right now. But, you know, listen, at the end of the day, I think this guy, they love him. I think they will give him what he wanted. But at the end of the day, like, we have to see what happened first between Charles and Ilya.
Justin Gaethje himself spoke about the situation, saying he's now waiting patiently for the outcome of the UFC 317 main event. He clarified that the winner of that fight is who he wants next, and that's the only fight that makes sense to him. While his manager spoke of retirement, Gaethje seemed more reserved about the idea. He explained that MMA is an emotional sport, and sometimes comments are made in the heat of the moment. Although he hinted at retirement, he ultimately said he expects to fight again, but only if it's for the belt.
I'm waiting for the winner of Ilya and Charles. They fight next week, June 28th. I'll be there. That's who I want to fight.
Your manager Ali also said earlier, you know, and I want to get your words because we've only heard from Ali, that if you don't get the title shot, you're willing to just hang it up and walk away for good.
We'll see how it goes. Catch me on a certain day, I'll tell you a certain thing. It's a very emotional sport, but I try not to speak too out of pocket when I'm emotional, which is right now. So I'm going to fight again in the future. Has to be the champion.
Meanwhile, Ilia Topuria continues to gather attention and admiration from fans and fellow fighters alike. After leaving the featherweight division earlier this year, where he defended his title once against Max Holloway, Topuria now aims to make history again. He's eyeing not just the lightweight belt, but has already hinted at a future move to welterweight with the ambition to chase down Islam Makhachev and claim a third title across divisions. Gaethje, when asked about Topuria's potential shift to welterweight, dismissed the idea bluntly, calling it stupid and not something he wastes energy thinking about.
I've been interviewing you for about 10 years now. I think I kind of know your answer, but you know, Ilya is saying if Islam wins, he's going to push to go up to welterweight after that, so.
I can't control any of that, so I don't spend no energy on it, but sounds stupid to me. We'll see.
As Topuria prepares for his clash with Charles Oliveira, opinions are pouring in from all sides. Former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker gave his thoughts on the matchup and praised both fighters. Whittaker acknowledged Oliveira's remarkable evolution from being labeled a quitter early in his UFC career to becoming one of the sport's most inspiring comeback stories. He commended Oliveira's heart, skill set, and journey, a story that resonates deeply with MMA fans.
Obviously, Charles Oliveira is a weapon of a fighter. I'm a big fan of his, big fan of Ilya as well, but I love Charles. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love the story that he has? Okay, the heart that, like, he used to be such a quitter in those early days of UFC, and he just stopped quitting. Like, he found something in him and came back with a vengeance all the way to the title to become champion.
Still, when it came down to analyzing the actual fight, Whittaker leaned toward Topuria. He pointed out the size comparisons circulating online between Topuria and Oliveira, concluding that size likely wouldn't be a problem for the Spaniard. From a stylistic standpoint, Whittaker argued that Topuria has tools that could cause real trouble for Oliveira.
I think though, a lot of Ilya's a different beast. Okay, I think a lot of the support that's going towards Charles winning this fight comes from the fact that we don't know what Ilya is going to look like moving up. Now, I've seen a lot of photos circulating of like Ilya next to the Chihuahua guy, and then Charles next to the Chihuahua guy. Sorry, dude. What? That's isn't that his nickname?
Go on. I'm sorry for
You know
stopping
what I
you.
was talking about?
Yeah, I do.
And then they're looking at size discrepancies. I don't think it's going to be a problem.
He highlighted Topuria's dirty boxing, movement inside the pocket, and slick striking as key advantages. Although Oliveira is dangerous on the ground and standing, he gets hit too often, something that could be a major problem against a sharp striker like Topuria.
I think Ilya would be a huge favorite. I don't know what the odds are right now. Is Ilya the favorite?
I think Ilya is the favorite. I'll pull him
Okay.
up in a second.
It
but-
makes sense, okay, but I think he would be a landslide favorite if weight wasn't really a factor in this fight. Ilya is a weapon. What he did to Volk and what he did to Max, two of the best featherweights, Volk being the best featherweight to have ever done it.
Yeah.
Okay, he starched two legends of the sport. Okay, that is
Crazy, man.
unreal. Ilya's skill set is ridiculous. Now again, Charles is phenomenal as well. Super dangerous off his back. Ilya has the grappling to do it.
Whitaker wasn't the only one putting his faith in Topuria. Jorge Masvidal, who knows Topuria well and has trained with him for several years, said he's always believed the Spaniard was destined for championship greatness.
Time. Maybe I know Topuria 5-6 years, and I've always said Topuria will be a world champion. So at the time, I'm like number 3 in the world at 170, number 2 in the world at 170, you know, and me and Ilya are working out. He was always very respectful, never throwing his hardest, but I could just feel, you know, I blocked the shot, and boom, boom, and I go, and I told him after, the first time we trained, I go, brother, God willing, you will be champion, brother, because Ilya's 1 out of 10,000. I've trained with everybody. Hey, say their name. Yeah. I've trained with everybody, brother. This guy's special.
Masvidal, the original BMF title holder, described Topuria as special and one of a kind, despite acknowledging Oliveira's wide range of tools, including his striking, jiu-jitsu, and experience. Masvidal still picked Topuria to win, believing he'll find a way to beat Oliveira and claim the belt.
Charles is bigger. Charles has kicks, knees, elbows, great jiu-jitsu, but Ilya is just different, brother. This guy's special. And I think he's going to be a world champion at 155. He's going to beat Charles, man.
Another respected voice, Beneil Dariush, who previously fought and lost to Oliveira at UFC 289, also gave his take. Dariush admitted Oliveira is dangerous and capable of mixing things up with his kicks, fakes, and overall striking, but he still leaned slightly toward Topuria. He pointed to Topuria's power, striking discipline, and Greco-Roman wrestling background as crucial advantages. Dariush suggested that the fight might come down to grappling, where Topuria could have the edge, even against someone as skilled as Oliveira.
You know, I lean towards Ilya, but it ain't by much, man. It's just a little bit. I think Charles has a really good chance with his power, with his fakes, with, you know, if he uses his full arsenal, he's a very difficult big guy to deal with.
So why do you lean Ilya? What's the kind of thing that's tipping you over the edge there?
I would say Ilya's got great power, and I think wrestling-wise, I would probably say Ilya is probably the better wrestler. So I think that's where this fight could be decided, who the better grappler is.
The MMA world is split, with some favoring Oliveira's experience and others confident that Topuria's dynamic skill set and unbeaten record will be too much to handle. All the while, Justin Gaethje is watching from the sidelines, hoping the winner calls his name next. Despite the setback, his fire to compete hasn't burned out, but he's made it clear he won't settle for anything less than a championship bout.
I'm also not gonna fight for fun anymore. They owe me a championship fight. I'm 3-1, last 4. They came to my house, begged me to fight Max Holloway on UFC 300. And what I consider it an exhibition fight. I don't mean that the loss is not on my record. I mean it had nothing to do with the rankings of my. And then Oliveira's 2-2 in his last fight. Already has a loss to Makhachev, and they bring a brand new guy in, and I get again.
As the UFC 317 lightweight title fight approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher. Ilia Topuria has a rare opportunity to solidify himself as a multi-division champion, while Charles Oliveira looks to reclaim the belt and continue his story of resilience. For Justin Gaethje, it's a waiting game, one that could determine not only his next fight, but the future of his career. Whether the UFC eventually rewards his persistence or pushes him toward retirement, fans know one thing for sure: Justin Gaethje won't return to the octagon unless it's for everything he's fought for.
I'm gonna take a risky fight, and if I lose, I'm gonna be set up, and if I win, I'm fighting for a belt.
Yeah.
Or I'm not doing it.
That's fair. That makes sense. I was going to ask you what you want next as your next fight? And I was like, I feel like they owe you that.
I'm the most consistent guy. I think anybody that's ever performed for their company and been as consistent as of an employee for their company gets a Christmas bonus.
Yeah.
Gets a thank you. Gets a good job. Like, nah, I'm done doing shit here. And I love fighting for this shit. I'd never want to fight somewhere else, but I'm not gonna just throw my legacy away for anybody.
On a recent episode of the Javier and Mo Show, renowned MMA coach Javier Mendez weighed in on the highly anticipated lightweight title clash between Charles Oliveira and Ilia Topuria set for UFC 317. As one of the sport's most respected minds and the longtime coach of former champions like Khabib Nurmagomedov and Islam Makhachev, Mendez brought a seasoned perspective to the matchup. Discussing the stylistic dynamics and mental fortitude of both fighters, Mendez offered an in-depth breakdown of where each man could find success and where they might struggle.
I can see him winning, yes, absolutely. You know, especially up the middle where he can use his height and his knees and his range, you know. If you watch one of Topuria's earlier fights where he's dipping a lot.
Known for his sharp fight IQ, Mendez acknowledged Oliveira's evolution from a once inconsistent contender into one of the UFC's most dangerous finishers. He praised Oliveira's world-class jiu-jitsu and striking improvements, but also pointed out that his tendency to get hit could be costly against someone as sharp and explosive as Topuria. On the other hand, Mendez highlighted Topuria's aggressive boxing and strong wrestling base, noting that his undefeated record isn't just hype, it's backed by a skill set that can trouble anyone in the division.
I can see Charles Oliveira's catching him with the knee right up the middle, you know, and I can see the front kick going up the middle because he has a traditional boxing stance, you know, the way he comes in. And one good way to beat a good boxer is Muay Thai. You know, good Muay Thai stance can get a good boxer if you have good Muay Thai. And Charles's Muay Thai is not great, but it's good. So he has a chance. And on the ground, he has a chance also. So you can't.
He has a chance, but do you see him winning? Like, would you pick him?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's a whole different story.
I want him to win, but I give the edge to Topuria. Yeah.
Why?
Because he's sharp boxing. You know, he's on a roll. He's mentally, physically, you know, fit, and he doesn't believe he could lose.
At the same time, Tim Welch emphasized the outstanding qualities in Charles Oliveira's skill set that could create major challenges for Ilia Topuria. He noted that Oliveira possesses one of the most dangerous guards in all of MMA and believes he has both the mindset and ability to endure Topuria's relentless style. Welch also credited Topuria for his poise and ability to handle high-pressure situations, pointing out that this mental resilience is a key factor in what makes him such a dangerous and complete fighter.
Dude, Charles, he just sometimes he comes out, gets in your grill. He stands so tall because he trusts his guard so much. He's got one of the best guards in MMA. He'll butcher you from the guard, and if you overextend yourself on one punch, he's gonna be crawling his legs up. You're gonna be defending off an omoplata, something.
Okay, for sure. One thing I see about him when someone throws body shots on him, he does reach for that, so it'll leave that left hook open for Topuria.
God, dude.
Still come up top.
Topuria is just something special to watch. Just watching him and his calmness and his patient pressure and how loose he is, and usually people can't really get away with that wide boxing low stance, and he just does. It's just so sick.
Makes him look good too.
He does.
And there you have it. The lightweight division is on fire as Charles Oliveira and Ilia Topuria prepare for war, while Justin Gaethje stands at the edge, demanding his shot or threatening to walk away for good. With experts breaking down the stakes, styles, and mental game, this fight isn't just about a title. It's about legacy, redemption, and who's truly ready to rule the 155-pound throne. Smash that like button, subscribe for all the Fight Night drama, and drop your prediction in the comments. Will it be Topuria's era, Oliveira's return, or Gaethje's last stand? This story is just heating up, and you don't want to miss what comes next.